Well, hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for being here tonight at our Connect group. My name is Dominic Insenius. I'm the leader here at The Heart, and I'm excited for you to be here tonight because it's in our Connect groups that we're able to live out the mission and the vision that we have here at The Heart, and that is to connect people to the heart of God. We often say that Sundays are great for us to be able to hear a message and to sing together and to see each other, but it's during the week that we really need each other to lean on, and that's what these Connect groups are designed for and how they thrive. So thanks so much for taking the time out of your week to be a part of this and to find community here with us. We are in week 2 of a message series that we have going on at The Heart called Reluctant Obedience. And if it's your first time at Connect Group, the way it works is we have some questions that we go over that are related to the message that we had on Sunday morning. But if you weren't able to be there or haven't listened to the podcast yet, you'll still be able to get a sense of what we talked about and be able to participate in the discussion. Now, it's in the discussion that we're able to really work through our faith, really able to work through where we're at with our relationship with God and how we can grow and how we can get others' perspectives on that. So I want to encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas as we dig into these questions. And if you're not ready, it's also completely safe to just listen and hear where other people are coming from in their journey of faith. So what we talked about this past Sunday was a man named Jonah, and Jonah was this prophet in the Bible where he was asked by God to go deliver a message to a group of people, and this message wasn't an encouraging one. It was he wanted Jonah to go tell this city, the people in the city of Nineveh, to let them know that he was displeased with them and that judgment was coming. And Jonah runs the opposite direction. He does not want to do what God needs him to do. So he runs the opposite direction, and through a series of events, I highly encourage you to read the story. It's such a short read, and I'm going to have the particular scriptures up on the screen in a little bit. But what happens is Jonah ends up at this city. Even though he was trying to run away, he delivers the message, and after delivering the message, the people repent. They want to get closer to God. They didn't realize they were doing things that displeased God. They changed their ways, and God forgave them. God saw that they were truly sorry, and that angered Jonah so much. And it angered Jonah, and he walked away from the city, and it seems like he didn't learn his lesson. You're going to see a little bit of that in these scriptures that you read. So I want to talk about this particular person he wasn't just a normal person. He wasn't just an average Joe. He was a prophet who could hear the voice of God. And not only hear the voice of God, but he was tasked with and given the responsibility to share that word that God would give him with people around him. So why would someone like this be so reluctantly obedient to follow what God wanted them to do? So the first question I want to dig into tonight, after you guys have a chance to read through some of the scriptures in Jonah, has to do with God using Jonah. And I want to know your thoughts on this is, why would God choose to use Jonah to accomplish this purpose? If Jonah didn't want to do this, and he didn't want to be a part of it, and he was so clear on not wanting to be a part of it that he ran the other direction, why would God continue to want to use Jonah to deliver this message to this group of people? I want to know your thoughts on that. So let's dig through that together and see what you guys come up with. All right, now for this second question, I want to see what it would look like a little bit to step into Jonah's shoes. So I want you to describe a time in your life, whether it's in the recent past or, way a long time ago and you tried to forget about it. Describe a time when you knew what the right thing to do was and you chose not to do it. You chose to go the opposite way of what you knew in your heart or what you felt like the right thing to do was. And I want to know how that affected you emotionally, how it affected you physically, how it affected you spiritually, what changed in you, and what have you learned from that? So a time when you knew what the right thing to do was, and you went the opposite way, a little bit like Jonah did, and how that has affected you, how it did affect you, and maybe how you're still working through that or dealing with that today. So I know this is require a little bit of vulnerability and a little bit of trust. So I want to encourage you again that you are in a safe place to be exactly who you are, where you are on your journey of faith. There's no one in this room that has everything figured out. We're all trying to figure life out together, me included. So when you share your perspective on this, it really helps all of us grow in our journey of faith. So let's take some time to dig into that together. Be be bold, be brave, share what's on your heart, and let's take a few minutes to talk about that. All right, now for this third question, I want to focus on, within the story of Jonah, God's reaction to the people in the city of Nineveh. See, because Jonah goes to the city of Nineveh and he tells them in 40 days, this city will be destroyed. He doesn't say what they did wrong. He doesn't tell them that God is mad with them. He doesn't even mention God. But the city of Nineveh, they take this as a call to action to humble themselves before God and worship him. So what I want to get your thoughts on, and what I want us all to kind of talk about together, is what are your thoughts on God changing his mind for the city of Nineveh just because they were sorry? Seems like he was ready to destroy them. He had threatened to destroy them. And because they were genuinely sorry, he changes his mind and wants to save this city. So what are your thoughts on God changing his mind just because they were sorry? And I want to know if that seems fair to you and why or why not. So what are your thoughts on God changing his mind? Does that seem fair to you? Why or why not? So let's take this apart, dig through it together, and see what you guys come up with. All right, now for this fourth question for tonight, our main goal with the message on Sunday, with these connect groups, with everything, is how can what we're learning in the Bible, what we're learning about Jesus, what we're learning about the nature of God, how can that apply to our daily lives? Right? It's not about just reading the Bible. It's reading the Bible and seeing how that can help us live our lives. It's not about just praying, but how can we pray and apply that to our daily lives? Because this journey with God, this journey of life, it happens day to day, hour to hour. So we want to be able to apply what we're learning into our lives and take it with us throughout the week. So one of the scriptures that we look at on Sunday was Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31 and 32. And I believe it connects with Jonah because I think Jonah was carrying around some anger. He was carrying around some bitterness to the people of Nineveh. He didn't want God to forgive them because he didn't like them. He didn't want God to save them because he didn't think they deserved it. So I want to look at our life, and maybe we don't feel as strongly as Jonah. Maybe we're not as angry as Jonah, but maybe we are. So I want to take some time for you to look at who in your life do you maybe hold a little bit of bitterness towards? Who in your life are you still angry at? And maybe it's not that extreme. Maybe who in your life do you not show kindness to? Do you withhold love from? Maybe because you feel that they don't deserve that yet. And maybe who in your life do you hold back on maybe allowing God to forgive them? There might be someone in your life that you wish God wouldn't forgive them yet because what they did to you deserves punishment. What they did to you was wrong. And what I want to do is looking at Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31 and 32 is how can we turn that around and look at the way God treated Nineveh? He showed them kindness. And he saw that we saw that a tender heart can change God's mind. So how can we tender our hearts, right? How can we show kindness to those that we are angry at? How can we be tenderhearted with those who don't deserve our forgiveness, but need it so that they can receive freedom the way the Ninevites did, and we can receive freedom the way Jonah didn't, but God wanted him to. So I want us to, if you're willing, and I know this requires vulnerability as well, but who in your life do you need to release from anger or from bitterness or allow God to forgive those people? Who do you need to show kindness to or to be tenderhearted with? And if you can share this with us, I want to know what actions are you going to take this week to start that? What action are you going to take this week to be kind? What action are you going to take this week to be tenderhearted? So let's take a few minutes to talk through that together. And this will be the last question for tonight. So I want to leave you guys with this. I'm so incredibly blessed to be a part of what God is doing here in the city of San Marcos alongside with you. I believe that big things are happening for this city. They're already happened. They have already happened. And there is more to come. And it's amazing to be able to partner with you as we grow the kingdom of heaven in this city. So I love you guys too much. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you this Sunday at 9:30, where we continue our message series of reluctant obedience, talking about Jeremiah and Peter. So love you guys. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.